thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming out. My name is Steve Velasquez. I'm the curator here at National Museum of American History. One of the curators for the show. Shout out to Denise Sandoval, she's in here. I'm going to do a quick, I know everybody wants to go out and see the cars, so we're going to try to keep this kind of brief, but you know, these guys have lots to talk about. I'm going to do a quick introduction here. At the end over there is Rudy Cuellar. He was born and raised in Roseville, California. Rudy graduated from Roseville High School where he learned about screen printing, linoleum block printing, and deeper understanding of what being an artist was about. He enrolled at Sierra College where he was exposed to ceramics and cultural sculptural images. He then transferred to Sacramento State University where he met professors Jose Montoya and Esteban Villa and many other members of the Royal Chicano Air Force Artist Group. At Sacramento State, he learned mask making, mold making, and silversmithing. From 1971 to 1979, he worked with Centro de Artistas Chicanos, teaching at-risk kids from the local school district different screen printing skills, art and design, and how to get along with one another. While working at the Centro de Artistas, he taught and helped the other Royal Chicano Art Front members with a silk screening process, creating prints, signs, and posters for other community events. In 1980, Rudy started Centro Screen Printing and Associates with Louis the Foot Gonzalez, another founding member of the Royal Chicano Art. Rudy taught silk screening at Folsom State Prison, and Louis became a rural mail carrier. Their work as printer and artist have been in numerous exhibits and publications such as Triumph of Our Communities, Posadas, Mexico, 1979, Cara, Chicano Art, Resistance and Affirmation, 1965-1985. Works at White Art Gallery, University of California, Los Angeles. Also designed in California and Mexico in 1915 and 1985. And most recently, the Printing, the Revolution, the Rise and Impact of Chicano Graphics, 1965 to now. Immediately to my right is Esteban Oriol. He's an international celebrated professional photographer, director, and urban lifestyle entrepreneur. Beginning his career as a hip-hop club bouncer turned tour manager for popular Los Angeles-based rap group Cypress Hill and House of Pain. Esteban's passion for photography developed while traveling the world. With an influential nudge and old camera from his father, renowned photographer Alberto Oriol, Esteban began documenting life on the road and established a name for himself amid the emerging hip-hop scene. Nearly 20 years later, Oriol's extensive portfolio juxtaposes the glamorous and gritty plains of LA culture, featuring portraits of famous athletes, artists, celebrities, and musicians, as well as Latino, urban, gang, and tattoo culture lifestyles. He has photographed Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Dennis Hopper, Ryan Gosling, Chloe Moretz, Marissa Miller, Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, Snoop Dogg, Floyd Mayweather, and many, many, many others. His work adorns magazine covers, album covers, and has been featured in galleries and museums across Los Angeles and now Washington, D.C. So let's give a big round of applause for our guest. We're going to cover a lot of material in a very short time. So, Rudy, give us a quick picture of what life was like, in Sacramento in the 1970s. Why art? What was it like, and why art?
And what art?
Why art?
Oh, why?
Oh, well, for us, can you hear me?
Yeah.
It was a moment of coming together of different parts. Sacramento is the capital of California, right? And at that time, we weren't just artists, we were political activists. We worked with Jose Serna, who was the first mayor, Mexicano Chicano mayor in Sacramento, and he was a political science professor at Sac State. He also was with, Cesar but where he went to Guatemala. Oh, I can't hear you. Peace Corps. Oh, Peace Corps. And at Guatemala, he learned that revolution's not no joke. Revolution's not something that, oh, I'm gonna go make a change overnight. It's not like that. He talked about how, and this is as a professor, he talked about what he saw in Guatemala. He says you had to have the National Guard was out in front of the bank because they were being robbed by the people to continue the revolution. So those are the things that I saw as an artist. And then working with the UFW, my friend here, stand up. And his wife, Monica. He played with all those bands that we talked about today. What was it? The bands that you played with. Tierra and stuff like that. And that was part of the revolution too. That music was moving us. Berkeley would have the Greek theater, like you guys here. No, we're not in LA. I just want to say a disclaimer that don't let my daughters know that I got out of the house. I got out of the senior citizens. I said I'm gonna go get some milk. I had to call my daughter later on and say, oh, I ended up in DC. But anyway, jokes aside, I was so lucky to meet up with all these young Chicanos, and Jose Montoya, most of you know, professor at Sac State. He was a poet, he was a muralist. He did him and two other, Steven Villa and Juanishi did the murals in San Diego at Chicano Park. Big murals. And people always say, well, Rudy, are you still doing murals? I said, no, we were never part of the mural. We were the silkscreen department. Louis Lafoot Gonzalez. How's that for a name? They go, how'd you get your name, Louis? He goes, well, I kicked the ball over the school and it hit one of the nuns. It was a Catholic school, and that's how he got his name, Louis. But great guy, beautiful person. He started out as a poet, and his poet is great stuff. And his professor at Sac State, you know what she did? He turned in his manuscript, all hand typed, right? And he goes, well, I haven't received my manuscript back. Oh, I'm so sorry. I gave it to one of the students and he lost it. Hand typed manuscript. That's gone. So he dropped out. And when he dropped out, I dropped out, 12 units short of my master's because, you know, I then had kids, I had a business, a small business, not big business, but, you know, we were surviving. And is that close to what you were asking? So a lot of things, right? Those are the things that we go out there, just like a boxer meets his match.
So we saw like in the films the art is very important for the visual in the car. What about for you and RCF and all your friends? What were you trying to convey with the art that you guys were producing?
Well, RCF stands for Royal Chicano Air Force, right? And I have a pin for you, my brother. Steve might want to give that to you. That's one of our Medal of Honors. We do all that stuff. We used to dress in military style. Montoya used to call us, oh, here, show them. You might want to stand up and show them. Maria has one of our t-shirts, which I didn't bring in here. I have them in the car. The question?
Art was so important in the movement.
Well, art was important because silk screening was something that we could do in our studios and we could do it in our garages. And as compared to offset printing, and like I told Steve earlier, we didn't have Photoshop. Those of you that are young and stuff like that, you do Photoshop on your phones. You do films on your phones, correct? And we didn't have desktop publishing. That's why, on my posters, they're a little, crude, but we were doing it all by hand. We cut it by hand. We printed by hand. We were using oil-based inks. Yeah, oil-based inks. Now it's all water-based. And that was the revolution. That was how we expressed ourselves. We could have done prints for somebody's, how would you say it, restaurant and stuff like that. But the union would come into town, the farm worker union. And remember, why did the farm workers, what caused the strikes of farm workers? The owners of the ranches wanted the workers to use a short hoe, which meant all day long, from 5 in the morning, like this, cutting down the rows. And come on now, all the people wanted, the farmers wanted, was the long hoes, so that it didn't have to break your back. And a lot of us that work know what breaking your back is, or being on your feet all day. So, we were people's art, and we didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, it's very important. People's art. So let's shift over to you. Can you tell us a little bit about what is your goal with your art, with your photography, and with your filmmaking? What is your inspiration? What is your goal?
Originally, I never really had a goal. I just like taking photos and I like to see the results because you're capturing a moment of like a fraction of a second in time, and to me, just preserving that second was enough for me. And then people started telling me that I did good photos, and that got me into doing magazines. And then that changed over into the fine art world, and I got into doing shows, art shows. My first show that anybody back home is kind of snobby, the art world, and you got to be brought in by somebody that they accepted, and I wasn't accepted at first, and I got my first art exhibit was in Tokyo, in Japan, and then they had been doing it. That was in 1997 or 98, and they had been doing low riding already for like 10 years over there. So we went over there. They were like, "Oh, we'd love to do an art show with you." So that was the first one. The second one was in LA. The Beastie Boys had an art gallery, and we did it there in East Hollywood, and from there on, I just picked and choose, where I wanted to do exhibits. But my goal was to be in a museum, and I got into 28 museums, and I'm finally here 30 years later. To me, it is the most important museum to be in. It has the biggest reputation in the world, and is an honor and one of my lifetime goals. And I'm glad I'm in here and that I was able to come here, because a lot of times people don't get to see, how far their work goes when they're alive, and they end up, getting their art show when they passed on, which was it was kind of sad, but I'm so happy to be able to be here, and I made it today. And I didn't think I was going to be able to make it, but at the last minute I pulled it together.
Well, thank you for having us. By the way, Esteban's work has been in here for about almost 7 years. It took that much time for us to get it on the wall. So, your work really presents a unique perspective on low riding and street life in LA. And Rudy, your work is really community-based, right? And so kind of just as a final question for both of you, what's been the most meaningful project or piece of art or just meaningful art scene that really affects you?
Why don't you go first?
Okay. Well, the most meaningful photo for me is the LA Fingers. And that's because this photo, I don't know why it was chosen by the people in my city to represent the city. And I never even thought of it when I did the photo back in like 1994. I didn't think it would ever be what it is now. But the most meaningful photos for me that I would say are photos of my loved ones, of my people that I care about, and then I would say people that have passed, you know, because those photos mean a lot for the families of that person. They were able to, you know, that's one thing that they're able to physically hold on to for the rest of their life, is having a photo that they can pick up and look at of their loved one and at that time in their life. Sometimes I have some of the only photos, like I know one guy, I have the only photo of him and his mother together, which is kind of crazy to me, but you know, it's reality. I'd say those are probably the most meaningful photos to me.
Yeah, and that really kind of relates to lowrider culture, right, in lowrider community. It's very family, friend, community, brotherhood, sisterhood based. Rudy, what about you? What's the kind of, again, looking at the community-based art that you've created, has there been a meaningful experience or piece for you?
Well, my piece is the one that you see outside, the blue Chevy 64 or something like that, and it's bouncing like that. And one young kid took it, and he did what they're doing, that AI stuff, and he had it jumping up and down, but he wouldn't let me have it. And I said, hey, wait a minute, I designed it. But, you know, that's the thing. Oh, and I want to thank all these people and all of you for being here. We also have another famous photographer right there. You want to stand up and... Your name again? Lou.
Lou Dillakis, San Francisco-based photographer.
San Francisco-based, shot what, in Nicaragua and other places?
Yeah.
Heavy stuff. I keep saying, you know, the revolution. You imagine being out there and surviving? So, and us, we survived too, because we survived those oil-based inks, lacquer thinners. You know, Louis and myself asked ourselves, well, how did we do it and these other guys didn't? Well, number one is we didn't drink. And we didn't smoke too much. And we didn't do the, you know, a lot of dancing. So I remember one night, we were leaving the shop, and Louis and I it's about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're in my Volkswagen, and we're stopped at the stop sign. He goes, well, why are you stopping? Oh, I'm waiting for the light. He goes, well, that's way down there. So, you know, we were kind of dazed, dozy, and all that. It's a tough field, silkscreen. It's physical. Now I have arthritis. I have a bum leg. But, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, we'll do it again if we have to. But thank you for all being here. Thank the Smithsonian staff, Steve, who I met, Carmen, Maria. You know, just great people that given it all their own. They're not, they're hiding in the little office, you know, reading the paper as we, you know. Doge better not find you.
Just to wrap it up, Sue, can you just give us a kind of a brief summary of what the LA lowriding scene has been and what it is today? Yeah.
LA lowriding scene.
Lowriding scene.
I mean, it's been a huge part of car culture, it's a huge part of our city. I've taken it across the world and been across the world with it, and I've shot in 7 different countries, all lowriders, and everywhere I go, I'm waving the LA flag, and I mean, it's been incredible. I've met a lot of friends and all over the world and all over the United States that our common interest is lowriding, and it's been a great experience for me. I'm going to do a book called Lowriding Worldwide,